Welcome you back into the Pioneer Sports Network here on the Pioneer Postgame, where the Pioneers have knocked off the Lenoir Bears to get their 10th straight win against LR. A 78-51 game, one of the best scoring halves of the season for Tusculum, the best, and really one of the best scoring games for this Pioneer team as well. And before the game began, Meagan Price basically said in her pregame, you know, we're going to use some players, we're going to use some bodies, create some energy. And guess what? That energy resulted into really good play. And I just think it's infectious. You know, when you've got a team that comes out and they're vocal, they're energetic, and I just think that has gone. But you also have to have good talent, and we do have that.
Yeah.
And Arnwine has been playing at a different level here of late.
I mean, huge, and she's been finishing around the rim, and that's so big for us because we like I talk about, we've been working on it so much. Even Maya in that first half, especially like finishing around the bucket. You know, it takes time, but it's one of those things to where I'm glad that we're catching on now because we need to. But I was proud of the way that Arnwine's been playing. She just has literally taken the team on her back a lot of times and just finished, got buckets when we need it. And I do think it helps that we're not always getting the ball back to her, and so that she's got those breaks and she can kind of contribute when we really need a bucket.
She's always kind of been that bulldog mentality, but you know, really for her, it's been pretty special. Let's go back to that first half because you know, kind of after back and forth a little bit, they started 5 for 5. You know, what did you do? Did you throw anything else at them defensively? Or did you frustrate them, or did you just, you know, start executing what you wanted to do in the beginning defensively?
Well, you know, one thing that we talked about at half is we have to do a better job. You know, it's a team that we got to have this win, so our focus at the beginning, I didn't feel like was there defensively. You know, we worked on those things, talking about the back screen. And it always goes back to I look and say, hey, well, we could have done this in practice and maybe worked on this a little bit more too so that we knew exactly how to guard that back screen. But we went over basic stuff with it. And so, you know, once we made the adjustment, we did a much better job guarding it. It just took us a while, and I didn't want to blow a timeout early to talk about it. So I was like, if we can get to the media with the lead, you know, that'll just make it easier on us. But I thought, you know, we dropped into a zone a lot too, and that really helped us against them. And I was willing to give up a couple threes, you know, just to keep it from going to the post so much.
You know, and Harmon was the next thing. That was the scary part. You know, she could go off for 40 if she wanted to. But I think in the game, Henry frustrated her so much, forced her into 7 turnovers. Yeah,
and that's huge because it goes back, like Sophie has to be on the floor defensively.
Yeah.
And she did such a great job, you know, forcing her to those turnovers, and also just, you know, I think the frustration level too with our press, like when we came out and we pressed on a free throw and then we pressed again in the third quarter, I felt like their frustration and that level, and it goes back to making a change in the third because we didn't outscore them by much.
Right.
So just trying to generate some points in that third quarter a different way, and I thought that was big for us.
I think the key moment was, you know, both teams were really slow to start the second half, but you didn't want to continue that trend that we had from that previous game.
Yeah.
And you called the timeout, and that really changed the tone, and that was one of the best inbound plays that I've seen in quite some time.
You know, I've always been, because my old boss was huge on inbound plays. I couldn't even concentrate after that. But my old boss was big on inbound plays, and so I think that made a big difference in the game, and just rallying right there and just knowing that, like, we got to get back to that execution, and we executed today. But even simple stuff like that coming out of a timeout, I thought we did a great job.
What are we doing?
I don't even know either after that. So we got the win. That's all that matters. Anybody can walk through. We'll still celebrate.
Bree Dixon, 7 of 17. Jayla was 9 of 14. And shooting numbers, Maya Belton, 8 of 13, 24, 21, 19. We're hard to beat when those big threes scored like that.
Yeah, you know, and that's a huge thing for us because they're driving their numbers up. And then it goes back because I don't want to miss this. You know, Chloe made 2 big threes for us coming off the bench, and she brought so much energy rebounding and stuff like that in her zone. And then even Lexi Patty, you know, she's young and learning, but she did a great job. She had 8 points I'm looking at and went 3 for 6 from the field. That's 50%, and we couldn't ask for better from a freshman.
But what she did was hit off the dribble,
and we've
created
been talking
her own
about
shot.
it. Yes.
And Chloe, with the shot clock winding down, took good shot. One shot she didn't, but everything else
we talked
was
about
within.
that at half.
Yeah, everything else was within what you need those players coming off the bench to do.
And I feel like we're to that point where we're all together, we're playing together. It was fun to watch today.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I did too.
I had a fun time.
I did too.
I was talking it up. I felt like Hudson, we knew she was going to be really, really good.
Yeah.
And, you know, even though Walker, you know, was down there, and it seemed like she really frustrated her and Dixon, when we threw all kinds of bodies at her, I just think that shows, really how good
Yeah,
Hudson
and
can be.
I don't want to look over it, because MJ came in and played a couple big minutes there in the fourth, even though we had the lead, but they didn't want to score in the post whenever she came in. So that's just reminders, even if we got to plug her in for a few minutes, in the first half so that we can stop somebody defensively, then we need to do that.
All right, so it's a great win.
Yeah.
You score off their turnovers, you score in the paint, you rebound the basketball, you get second chance opportunities, and it is one game.
Yeah.
But it is also a game that can be, we talk about baby steps a lot, I think, this season with this team going forward. And now we're getting into the month of February, and you brought it up. Listen, there's not much room left to wiggle room left here down the stretch. And a big one on the horizon on Wednesday. And I like the momentum because I like, the pieces that we had out here on the floor today.
Yeah, I think so too. And it goes back. I truly think it does go back to one, execution, but two, dipping into our bench. And our bench just brought energy and made shots when they needed to. And we got stops when we needed to from our bench. And I honestly, I couldn't ask for any more for who we put in and who we subbed in. And if they can bring that more and contribute more like that, and that's huge for us. Because I will say, the one thing about Chloe, she's stayed the course for me in practice too. She's always bringing energy.
Yeah.
She's high-fiving me, and she hadn't been in 4 games, and she's coming into practice, getting everybody riled up. And so I said, you know what, we're giving her a chance again. Let's get her to knock down a couple of threes where she gets her footwork right and she's ready to catch and shoot. And she was big for us. I can't say that enough. She was big for us today.
I'm a big fan, and the reason I am because of her attitude on the bench when she's here.
Even when I don't want to give a high five, she's still right there to get me to give one.
She's jumping up and down. She's all over the place. She's madness.
Yes,
is what
she is madness.
But she's exciting to watch and fun, and has that long range ability.
Yeah.
Get us a rebound as well.
Yeah.
Big one Wednesday.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good win.
Appreciate
She's
it.
Meagan Price. Pioneers knock off the Lenore Ryan Bears. We'll talk about the numbers when we come back with more our Pioneer postgame here on the Pioneer Sports Network.